points. We talk about mind-muscle connection. You mentioned that I was among the first, maybe that I was loud about it. He brought this to completely another level. You need to know your kinesiology, anatomy, physiology. You need to know how muscle function. And I was criticized many times with using like less than respectful weight. They want to go heavy or go home and stuff like that. And, I mean, it's nonsense that, as we always teach in seminars and camps, it's about challenging the muscle, not doing the movement, not doing the exercise. He used the term muscle-centric, which I never heard, but that's exactly, you need to know function of the muscle, you need the insertion and origin, and position yourself that you can really focus on it, feel that stretch, feel that contraction, and then maximize it. And a lot of people, even to this day, I was gym owner, you're 22 years gym owner, you watch them doing it years and years of the same things, not having any or mediocre results, because they just don't think, they're not focused, and they don't have that stimulation. So one of the big things is that I've seen when Beth started Muscle Intelligence, he has a mastery execution. If you want to learn how to properly do the exercise, tune in and see how Ben explains. I was doing this at a much lower level, and he expanded on it 10 times more. So if you haven't signed up for Muscle Intelligence, we didn't talk about this, but I'm honestly saying this is the first step I would do.
Yes. That's what I wanted to get into next about the muscle camps. Obviously, you guys are passionate. He's been in the industry for a long time. Milos is a huge fan of yours now. You're his student.
The respect is
and
massively
now,
mutual as
you're taking it to another level. And how passionate are you about these muscle camps? Do you want them going around the world? Obviously, you guys are traveling everywhere. You are getting a lot of people that are interested.
The most important thing for people to know is, you can build muscle, and you can build a lot more than you think. You're just not doing it correctly yet. So we're here to, simplify and certainly not make it more complex. It's going to make it so much easier than you think. And the problem you have is not your inability to do it. It's what you've been taught up to this point has not been accurate, right? We're all taught certain things in high school. We're all taught as we're growing up, like, this is how you do it. Well, that works to a point, right? Everyone will respond no matter what you do, but then eventually you reach a point where, well, now I have to do something a little bit better, or I'm not going to get results. And people just assume, like, oh, I don't have the genetics, or I don't have the ability to do this, or I don't have the time, and it's all nonsense, man. Like, we can exponentially increase your time, no matter what your goals, right? If your goal is to be the best bodybuilder on the planet, or it's just to be the best version of yourself and feel great and move well and not have joint pain and learn how to have this skill set for the rest of your life, like riding a bicycle, right? You come once and now you understand this stuff for years, and it's empowering you to have this amazing body. And that's really where this kind of started is, I had some weak body parts as a bodybuilder, and I was told that, hey, it's genetic, man. And then I realized it's nonsense. It's certainly a genetic component, but what's the point genetically is that when I pick up a weight, my body just doesn't naturally want to distribute tension into that muscle. So what I learned was, if I can learn to take this resistance and instead of just lifting it and moving it, I can actually consciously direct where it goes, what muscle actually moves it, right? So if I put a 50 kilo-pound dumbbell on the floor and I say, pick it up, it's very different if I say put a 50 kilo-pound dumbbell on the floor and pick it up with just my bicep. So if I pick it up, my body's going to use all the muscles, like size principle, right? Biggest muscle all the way down to the smallest. So if I go, hey, just use your bicep, well, that's a very different scenario. And if you learn to direct the tension that way, you can build all these body parts. So once I learned that, I felt so empowered. I was like, why doesn't anyone talk about this stuff? So that's really what we're teaching, right? That's the foundation of it. And then once you learn how to create that internal stimulus, so that's an important thing to realize, is most people focus on what's outside of them. We're trying to create an internal stimulus, right? We want to use the external signal to create an internal response. Exercise is just a signal, man. So is food, so is light. These are all signals that your body's interpreting. So how do we create enough stress inside the body with this external signal to shift away from homeostasis and then come back to homeostasis and make a change? That's it. We're creating an internal response. And so that's really what we're teaching, is first how to create the signal in the most optimal way, and then how to move yourself back, right? So what are all those things that you can do to allow yourself ultimately, objectively, to train harder and more But to do that, first, you got to learn how to get yourself back. And then the analogy I give is you can dig yourself a hole and fill it back in, or eventually you want to be digging yourself a big hole and then filling it back in. And you know, certainly don't want to dig yourself a trench that you can't fill back in, right? We want to be able to use all these recovery modalities and nutrition and stress mediation and sleep and supplementation to fill that proverbial hole back in, right? So objectively, when you train with this guy, you're going to build a big ass, you're going to dig a big ass hole because he's going to crush you. But now we're going to give you all the skills to learn how to not only just like fill it back in as fast as possible to allow you to recover without pain, but now come back even better than you were before. That's the plan.
And, you know, going to these muscle camps, if I do 2-3 days or 4 days, do you notice that people still need more mentoring there after that? Is there, if you've got something in place where people can reach out to you
Milos
guys?
does coaching, I do coaching. I think it's this reality that you don't know what you don't know, right? Yeah. So when you come into camp, everyone leaves going, wow, the more you learn, the less you know. And people come in thinking like, oh, I thought I had this figured out and I didn't. But here's the cool thing. You guys gave me some really simple frameworks because we're not just going to teach you how to do a bicep curl. That'd be a complete waste of time. Yeah. But teaching you how to think about it. So now you can take any exercise that you want to do and apply it to every body part. It's so simple, but nobody teaches it this way. So yes, you know, giving you the skill set, giving you the knowledge, giving you the tools. And then obviously if someone wants to accelerate that, like, hey, I have a deadline, I want to do this in 3 months, I want to do this in 6 months, you know,
yes,
you work with Milos. Certainly I do some stuff as well. Milos is really emphasizing on the physique optimization. Like if you're doing a contest prep or something, he's your guy.
He's the guru.
So for myself, it's more, I'm doing more lifestyle optimization, mentorship, business and stuff like this. Milos, if anyone wants to do a contest prep, that I mean, not just because he's one of my good friends and mentors, there's nobody better in the world who actually gives a shit about your results, right? And he won't take people on if he cares about your results more than you do, and that's important to know. Like if you're not dead committed to your results, don't even contact him, right? Because he will say like, don't waste my time.
Do you think that balances the relationship a lot? Like having that framework of you can go to Milos if you want to go to that next level, and then, you know, lifestyle, you know, business mentorship. Do you think that, and obviously the philosophy, you know,
I'll tell you, man, even if I was doing physique enhancement, I think I would still send them to him just because he's the best. Like, I think I'm certainly capable, but and again, we probably have a different demographic. But I think you know his expertise. Like, you know, I looked up to him for a reason, and that was out of a massive level of respect. And the details, the attention he pays to details is second to no one. So. You know, that's, you know, I give him all the credit for that.
And obviously, Milos, you're just as passionate as you were. Like, you really want to get people in shape. You really want to help people. You're as passionate as you were back in the 90s. I mean, how long do you see that passion going for? Like, do you see yourself doing
this? Is something, your character, it's in you. When you have a passion, the greatest thing in life is to have passion about something. Right? And as he said, I appreciate it. As, you know, true as it gets, you know, I would tell you the truth at all times. I want a maximal results, maybe sometimes harsh on people, but, you know, because I want you to succeed. I had many times people coming in and telling me, oh, I know I'm doing this wrong, or I'm not doing it maximally. And I said, stop right there. Now think what you just said. You're an intelligent person telling me, I know I'm doing it wrong. So take now anything and do it wrong. What is going to be the result? You know, so, you know, I'm using a little different term. He always says optimization, which is, you know, correct. I always say maximization. You have to maximize it. You know, for me, in bodybuilding, this is extreme sport. And let's put it this way. Many come to me and say, well, Arnold back in the day, he didn't have this, he didn't have that, and he looked, you know, fabulous. Yes, Arnold is probably one of the best physiques of all time. Could he be better? I'm 100% convinced. If he maximized all the other aspects that, you know, you put, he just didn't need to. And I have a lot of bodybuilders.
They're not Arnold. It's important to acknowledge that too, right? The client who's coming to you is not Arnold. They're not even Milos. You know?
But it's really competitors at the Olympia stage, and then they would, you know, later after the contest tell me, but, you know, I didn't do everything you told me. I cheated here, I cheated there, and they're all happy. But you see, I had a great result. Imagine what would happen if you didn't cheat. Imagine if you did 100% of everything that you're supposed to. So this is my kind of mentality, and I don't want to say that I accomplished something great because I was just like top 10 in the world, but top 10 in a hardest era of bodybuilding, and you follow back in the day, you can, say 20 guys in the 90s, they were just unbelievable. So in that kind of elite competition, somebody has to be first and somebody has to be last. I remember 97 Olympia, I was 10th. Ronnie Coleman was 9th. And let's say last three guys, 11, 12, 13 was Mike Materazzo, Charles Claremont, and Mike Francois.
Yes.
Everybody phenomenal, but somebody had to be last. 1999, my last Olympia, Jay Cutler, in incredible condition, placed 15th. So when you look at it, I mean, we talked a little bit about the subjective sport of bodybuilding and how judging goes. Many times I disagree with judges, and I tell them not that you're looking at oranges and apples. If you have crystal clear definition of, I'm looking for, number one, balance, everything has to be there, shape, beautiful aesthetics, conditioning, right, muscularity, presentation, then you can define and judge them correctly, but they don't, they just look overall picture, and we talked about many times, we do disagree with the judging, and for me, I pay attention to all the little details. When I work with Ben, we spend a lot of times on the posing as well, right? Because it's not what you have, it's what you show. And so what you have, you can maximize it, or you can say, I'm happy with what I have. For me, since 1991 when I turned pro, I was progressively getting bigger and better. And when I finally retired, right, I could say that it was inclination. It was always a little bit progress by next time. Doesn't matter if it's minute progress, doesn't matter how slow or fast you go. If you're still going in a good direction, you're going to go there.